Chemical bond. We know that there is a close relationship between valency and electronic configuration. All noble gases have completely filled outermost shells. That is, their electron octet or duplet is complete. Hence, noble gases do not form any chemical bonds. Atoms which have an incomplete electron octet or duplet state form chemical bonds. Why is this so? This is because an atom uses its valence electrons during the formation of a chemical bond. When atoms form chemical bonds equal to its valency, the atom attains the electronic configuration of the complete octet or duplet. Let us now first study about ionic bonds. Ionic bond. The compound sodium chloride is formed from the constituent elements sodium and chlorine. To understand how this compound is formed, we shall see the electronic configuration of sodium and chlorine. The atomic number of sodium is 11, so its electronic configuration is 2, 8, 1. Sodium atom has one electron in its outermost shell and thus its valency is also 1. The atomic number of chlorine is 17, so its electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. Chlorine atom has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. It requires 1 electron to complete its octet, so its valency is also 1. If sodium atom loses its 1 electron from the M shell to attain a stable octet, then its penultimate shell, that is L shell, will become its outermost shell. It has 8 electrons in it. Thus, sodium attains an electron octet state. In such a situation, the number of electrons becomes 10. But since sodium atom has 11 protons in its nucleus, the positive charge plus 11 on the sodium nucleus is imbalanced. This leads to the formation of a positively charged sodium cation carrying net positive charge plus 1. On the other hand, the valence shell of chlorine atom contains 1 electron less to complete its octet. The valency of chlorine is also 1. If chlorine atom accepts 1 electron, it can attain a stable octet state. This causes a charge imbalance. The number of protons in its nucleus is 17, but the number of electrons is 18. This leads to the formation of a negatively charged chlorine anion carrying net negative charge minus 1. When the elements sodium and chlorine combine, an atom of sodium gives an electron to the chlorine atom, which leads to the formation of a sodium ion and a chloride ion. There is an electrostatic force of attraction between the oppositely charged ions, due to which they get attracted to each other and a chemical bond is formed. Such a chemical bond formed due to an electrostatic force of attraction between an oppositely charged cation and an ion is called an ionic bond or an electrovalent bond. The compound formed by means of one or more ionic bonds is called an ionic compound. The valency of an ion is equal to the magnitude of positive or negative charge on it. An ion forms the same number of ionic bonds as its valency. Thus, one ionic bond is formed due to the electrical charge plus 1 or minus 1 on an ion. Now let us understand the formation of the compound magnesium chloride. The electronic configuration of the element magnesium is 2, 8, 2. And that of chlorine is 2, 8, 7. Magnesium has 2 electrons in its outermost shell and thus its valency is 2. We have seen the electronic configuration of the element chlorine. It is 2, 8, 7. The valency of chlorine is 1. Magnesium loses 2 electrons which are accepted by the 2 chlorine atoms. During this process, magnesium ion with 2 positive charges is formed and chloride ion with 1 negative charge is formed. The magnesium and chloride ions are bonded to each other by an electrostatic force of attraction, forming an ionic bond. Thus, the ionic compound magnesium chloride is formed. Let us study the formation of some more ionic compounds and get a better understanding of the concept. Formation of potassium fluoride. The electronic configuration of potassium is 2, 8, 8, 1 and that of fluorine is 2, 7. Potassium loses the lone electron from its outermost shell to form a potassium ion. This electron is accepted by fluorine atom to form a fluoride ion. The electronic configuration of potassium ions so formed is 2, 8, 8 and that of fluoride ion is 2, 8. These ions are bonded to each other by an electrostatic force of attraction, thus forming an ionic bond. In this way, the ionic compound potassium fluoride is formed. Formation of calcium oxide. The electronic configuration of calcium is 2, 8, 8, 2 and that of oxygen is 2, 6. Calcium loses 2 electrons from its outermost shell to form a calcium ion. These electrons are accepted by oxygen atom to form an oxide ion. The electronic configuration of calcium ion is 2, 8, 8 and that of oxide ion is 2, 8. These form an ionic bond and thus the ionic compound calcium oxide is formed. Certain compounds are also formed by the formation of covalent bonds. Let us understand this concept. Covalent bond. A covalent bond is formed generally when atoms of elements having similar properties combined. These atoms do not exchange electrons as in the case of ionic bond formation. Instead, these atoms share electrons with each other. The shared electrons belong to both the atoms and thus the electron octet or duplet of both the atoms becomes complete. Let us first consider the example of hydrogen molecule, that is H2. A hydrogen atom contains 1 electron. To achieve the duplet state, it requires 1 electron. Therefore, the valency of hydrogen is 1. The 2 atoms of hydrogen are identical and have a similar tendency. Therefore, the 2 hydrogen atoms share 1 electron with each other. As a result, the electron duplet of both the hydrogen atoms is complete and a chemical bond is formed. Such a bond formed by sharing of valence electrons of 2 atoms with each other is called a covalent bond. One covalent bond is formed by sharing of 2 valence electrons. A covalent bond between 2 atoms is also represented by a dash joining their symbols. Now let us see how a water molecule of the compound water is formed from 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. The electronic configuration of oxygen is 2, 6. There are 6 electrons in the valence shell of oxygen. This indicates that the valency of oxygen is 2. The electron octet of oxygen is short of 2 electrons. The electronic configuration of hydrogen is 1. There is 1 electron in the valence shell of hydrogen. This indicates that the valency of hydrogen is 1. Hydrogen requires 1 electron to complete its duplet. When 2 hydrogen atoms combine with 1 atom of oxygen, 1 atom of oxygen shares its 2 electrons with 2 hydrogen atoms. In this way, the electron octet of oxygen and the duplet of hydrogen are also completed. Hydrogen chloride is also a covalent compound. How is it formed? Hydrogen and chlorine atoms share 1 electron with each other. In this way, the electron octet of chlorine and the duplet of hydrogen is also complete. Thus, both these atoms are bonded together with 1 covalent bond. In this way, a molecule of hydrogen chloride is formed.